Hi, I'm Aoife Devitt, and welcome to 50Faces TV. Today, we're joined again by Tammy Parlour, who spoke with us in July of this year, 2024, about the work she does around advocating for women in sport and the importance that visibility for more women in sport has in order to enhance women's visibility in their careers and beyond. Welcome, Tammy. Great to welcome you back here.
Oh, it's great to be back again. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're here to speak about the recent report you published around visibility for women in sport. And this is a report that you publish somewhat frequently. Could you speak to us about the purpose of this report and what the latest one revealed?
Yeah, it's great. So we've been publishing these visibility reports now for about 4 years, and we do it on a quarterly basis. So I think I last spoke to you around about July time. So since then, we've published our report that really looked back on the summer of sport. We had the Olympics and Paralympics and many other events at all. So it was a really great chance to deep dive on that. And we took the opportunity with the Olympics. It was very much known as the TikTok Games. So we took the opportunity to do a little bit of a deep dive in the social space, and particularly around TikTok. Because as well, the Olympics had changed the requirements, or had relaxed the requirements on female athletes. And what we found was absolutely fantastic. Female athletes having the freedom to document the games from their own perspective. This allowed stories to flow. The creativity of our female athletes on social got a lot more stories out there, more voices being able to be heard. It was fun and engaging, and provided a space for some lesser-known athletes to get some sort of name for themselves as well. And we also noted that as far as success-wise and views-wise, engagement, female athletes were tending to do as well a lot, scoring a lot higher than the male athletes, which was really interesting. So a really interesting space, this digital social space for women's sport to step into, given some of the more traditional areas are a little bit hard to get in. What else did we find? We also, for us, it was interesting to deep dive into a year that hasn't had a Lionesses England tournament, so soccer tournament. And we looked at the general visibility over the year, and we could see that sort of dropped a little bit. But when we took out the fact that we compared that to other years that haven't had the sort of a big tournament, World Cup or Euros or so forth in it, you can see the baseline of women's sport visibility is growing, the audience is growing. So that's, for me, that was really encouraging. So I think the report, it showed an awful lot of things, but the two main things that were important to me was sort of embracing the storytelling of female athletes and using those sort of social publishing strategies, and then also the continued importance of major events to ignite fandom, but also the reassuring state of the domestic game, and that we can see that interest is growing.
And what have you found is particularly good in driving that visibility? Is it celebrity endorsements? For example, I'm going to a private equity conference soon where Venus Williams is going to be one of the lead speakers. And also we've seen a surge of interest in the WNBA thanks to players such as Caitlin Clark. How does that drive visibility for sport as a whole, drive interest in it, and also the willingness of spectators to pay for tickets?
Oh, God, it has to help. I don't think there's any one thing that there's no magic bullet, so to speak. We've got to use so many different things to drive this forward. But those personalities, the driving of storytelling, the big names that are able to attract attention are absolutely essential. And Caitlin Clark, yes, she's got global attention. I was speaking at a conference recently, and they put into put into, I think it's Slido that we use over here, that's questions sort of for the panelists, etc. And I had about 10 questions come through, and I think about 6 of them mentioned the name Caitlin Clark in it. So it had clearly sort of captured attention. It's so important.
And how about some of the support functions, the anchors, the commentators? Do you think that representation there is as diverse as you would like to see it?
I think there's still a long way to go as far as many of the forms of visibility. So, for instance, with our recent report really showed the value of social media, but it contrasts really quite sharply with a lot of those traditional platforms. Earlier in the year, we showed that I think it was 8% of TV sport coverage hours on key channels was dedicated to women's sport, and only 3% of all print mentions were dedicated to women's sport. So it's a complex issue, and each bit of visibility is at a different stage of development.
And I don't know if you consider podcasting a sport. It can feel like an endurance sport at times. And we certainly need to get more visibility by women in podcasting. But thank you so much, Tammy, for coming here and for updating us on the state of play when it comes to women in sport. We look forward to following your progress, your future reports. And I would encourage all of our listeners to follow you on LinkedIn. Thanks you for coming here and sharing your insights with us.
Oh, brilliant to chat again. Thank you very much.
I'm Aoife Devitt. Thank you for watching 50 Faces TV.